Well, hello there. It's BUSqaller, bringing a new series. Madden one time, MegaMek the next. I've started a new campaign. I thought I would run it, but it's hard to explain. But so, like, what I like to do is play way in the past. So as you can see at the top there, this is January 8th of 2500. So this is before BattleTech and all that stuff even really, like, there was no wars yet or whatever. And so I just like playing a self-guided campaign, and I have a spreadsheet that I use to track it. And so thought I'd give you guys a little rundown on what I'm gonna do in this series. So first of all, as you can see, it's the 8th and not the 1st, so 8 days has gone by as I've got my mercenary group together. It's BUSqaller mercenaries. And so first we're going to start off with, I gave myself 1,000,000 credits to buy my troops. And so what I have is I have a B-50. I guess, you know what, actually the hangar is probably a better place for this. I have a B-50 Indy mech, which you can see is a little tiny industrial sized mech with a machine gun. And obviously you're like, well, that's not canon. There's a lot of non-canon units in this game because, well, one, we're really far in the past, and two, this is like a small startup mercenary group, you know, where it focuses more on infantry and tanks than it will mechs, kind of thing. I mean, it will be mechs, but you face a lot of infantry, have a lot of infantry. You're a little different, you know. Just getting a drink there. So yeah, so you see that I have that, and then I have a wheeled 15 bus. BUSqaller. It's a carrying vehicle shaped like a car. It has a machine gun as well and some armor. An ice engine. So there's my troop transport. This is my tank in the beginning that I purchased. And so it's a 10-ton armored carrier, personal carrier. Oof, yeah, look at that. 4 machine guns. I mean, that's just going to terrorize. So we have a machine gun on this, a machine on that, 4 machine guns. And this is my infantry. And if anyone can guess where the name comes from, I'll give you props in a video. So there you go, giant sandstorm infantry. The primary weapons auto pistol, and then 5 of them have machine guns. These are all edited to not be standard units or anything like that, and I went and did that. So there's infantry and tanks, and I'll give you a little bit more rundown in a little bit here. So let me be right back. Okay, sorry. Let's keep going here, and let's look at our personnel. So we'll just do it by role, and here we go. We have our commander in charge, Drizzt Do'Urden. So I think it's said differently than that. Raynor Bandlehammer is our logistics guy. Cadbury is our admin HR person, and Clacker is our transport person. So you know, props to the R.A. Salvatore book series for my commanders. As you see, they're all green and kind of cheap on the salaries. So yeah, here's my mech warrior here. Look at them skills. Whew. Anybody that plays MegaMek knows that a 10-10 is terrible. And yeah, but we're playing highly modified mech warrior. Here's my pilot. Got a couple of drivers here. So and then my soldiers for my infantry and a couple of spares that are currently not being used. So that's where we stand. That's why you go back here. You see that my Alpha Lance here is 330 battle value points, 43 tons, and that's how much it cost. That's kind of a weird number because the infantry don't calculate correctly, I think. So yep. So briefing room. So we got some missions already set up here. Rebels have taken over a small town, and the local government has hired a brand new merc unit to wipe them from the face of the planet. Rebels will not be tolerated. And then we have our missions that are pending, and you can see here in this first one this is infantry, tanks, and mechs right here. So we're gonna face a light unit of infantry is the entire thing we're facing, and we'll go do that in a second. Interstellar map, we're still on Solaris. This doesn't mean anything to me. We'll go past personnel. Here's our hangar. Nothing in the warehouse. No repair bay. Nobody in the infirmary. Finances. Here's our $1 million that we originally got, and the Indie Mech cost $580. But you can see that the giant sandworm infantry cost $1230. But when you look at the hangar, I think their cost is a lot higher. No, $640. So I don't know. See, they're all cheaper. It's very weird. So we bought some people and got that. Now, I guess I could show you real quick here the marketplace. So we want to purchase a unit, and I hope the size is okay. I mean, it's gonna be a little hard to read, but yeah. So here you go. Here's some of our. So this is the B10 Indie Mech, 10-ton Indie Mech. There's a quad 10-ton Indie Mech, 15-ton. They all look like Lotus. There's a B20 Indie Mech. So I made an Indie Mech for every weight class that wasn't already taken. So yeah. So here's a quad 100 Indie Mech, but they get. This guy has 2 wrecking balls, and that's it. They're terrible. This one is not. It's got an AC-10. It's got 2 AC-10s. So yeah. But for the most part, the Indie Mechs are just fill-in spots that I made just to have more choices for cheaper mechs. As you can see, when we go to the price here, I mean, there's a lot of, before the Wasp shows up, you got a 30-ton Indie Mech that has 4 machine guns. So yeah. And then let's see, where's our highest priced Indie Mech? Right here. So I can get a swordsman or a 110 quad, 100-ton quad mech for about the same price. So Icarus versus the 100 on Indie Mech there. Okay, so you get the point. Tanks. So now we have the tanks again too here, going by weight. And anytime there was an open spot for weight, I made a transport vehicle for that weight class, hovered tank or hovered tracked and wheeled, and you can see that we can go all the way up to there's a 40 hover vehicle, and here's a 65 wheeled with an L around 10 and 26 tons of transport room for imp troops. Because these vehicles right here, they're actually designed to be transport vehicles and not combat vehicles. So here's our 100-ton tanked wheel, and he's got an AC-5 and 40 tons of space. So 40 tons of troop space, which you're like, whoa, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, that's yeah, they're just there for the giggles and stuff. But they do have a purpose, because if we go to infantry and we go by weight, we do have the Cyclone S infantry. It's 81 soldiers, and it weighs 81 tons. So this wouldn't fit in anything. Neither would the skeleton wheel here, because that's 400 soldiers using clubs and bows. But yeah, some of these other ones, cavemen here, they'll fit in. They use bows and clubs too. There's 400 of them. Devout of the Deep right here, it's 100. And they use paint guns, because you know, paint guns and clubs. These are, again, 225. Look at this one. This one's pretty funny. 225 infantry with 2 armor points each, and they use stun staffs. And then their secondary weapon is stun staff single. There's some axemen using hatchets and tomahawks and some crossbows. Here's a Volart, the Boreal Valley infantry. There's 100 of them. They're using trank guns and mortars. So they don't really make much sense. Here's an auto shotgun and auto cannon. Some of these infantry though are, like if you go to the battle value version of it, like the skeleton wheel here, and this is 1,000 battle value for 2 armored 400 unit clubs. It would take forever to eat that away with normal troops. You have to have so many machine guns. The winged knights here, I don't know which ones. Actually, I do, because I have a spreadsheet I made up to show who's really good and who's really bad for the infantry. Okay, so we got conventional, we got gun placements we could buy. They don't have a price though, so that's unfortunate. I don't know what I'll have to think about what I can do for that. All right, so let's see. Let's keep going here. We did our briefing room things. Okay, let me pull up the spreadsheet. Let's see if you can see it. Oh, you can. Cool. That's nice. All right, so here you go. Here's our years. That shows what we'll be facing in the first year, and this is our bonus rolls. This is our, actually it's how we calculate how much we're going to get paid for doing the mission. There's the skill we're facing. It's already predefined here. Let me blow this up so make this really big for you. Look at that. So that should be really easy to see now. And infantry, and this is what we're facing. This represents lights, mediums, and heavies and assaults, and obviously we're going to face 2 medium units in this whole entire thing. This is the boss fight right here in the 12th month. So I don't expect too much difficulty with this. This is not, the first year is simply to get our feet on the ground. So just getting another drink here. All right, rules. Here's my rules tab so far, and I'll blow this up a little bit more. Okay, so here we go. We got, so you know, this 1d4 right here for the first one, and then you go here, and depending on where your troops land, on if it's a light lance, a medium lance, a heavy lance, you get to add that to the bonus. And here's how much they pay out per whatever. And so let's say the first year I'm a light lance, so I get a +4, and I get to roll a 1d4 right here, so it's 8. And let's say I roll a 6, so I'm going to get 300 points per whatever on my thing. So now this is a little broken up. Here's the boss multiplier for the final boss payout. You can see that they pay pretty well. That's if you kill the boss. If the boss escapes, you don't get the money. So, and then salvaging a unit, they get captured or caught if I roll a 1 on a 1d20. It shouldn't happen too often. Okay, so now this is the table that shows what we're facing going forward past year 1. So this is what they're allowed to use. And then you roll this 2 here. And some of these guys, like the wild cards here, they can be really disgustingly good, you know. But yeah, so the perfects here, their skills are 0, 0. They can take anything. Super elites, clan elites, house elites, wild cards, clanners, regular house, pirates, raiders, and rebels. And we'll see how well we adhere to that. So now, if for repairs for my repairs shop here, it's free to repair in the field, but everything else costs money, so I have to buy a field workshop, buy these items, and that's how much it costs to purchase. Purchase used equipment, and so you only pay it. So I have a used equipment spot too that I can buy my equipment for 0.75 cost, 3/4 of the cost, and then add age to the unit. And then so here is our rules to see if things retire. And basically what that represents is that there's something so wrong with the piece of equipment that it's not useful, not salvageable, not whatever. It doesn't really make sense, but so I just have to scrap it and can't sell the unit itself. So I can sell it for parts, I just can't sell the unit itself. And then you roll every year, and here's the retirement. So if the unit is 1 to 100 years old on a D100, if you get unlucky, it has to be retired. So there's a 1% chance of it being retired, and then a 50% chance, 20% chance, and then it just becomes more and more obnoxious as it goes along. And as you can see, it could be, I mean, a unit, you could keep a piece of equipment for 500 years, and we will never get that far. This is just there for the giggles, I think. And I might adjust this, actually. I think I might bring this down a little bit. This is for a different series I was doing. I'm not sure I really want the units to be that old. Plus I noticed something else that's missing in here, and that's the quirks thing. So I'll have to do that too. So basically units get quirks, positive quirks and negative quirks as the pilot gets used to them or as they age. And some of the quirks in MegaMek doesn't work, but some of them do. So, and then positive and negative, and you just randomize them. So there's like 32 quirks or whatever. You roll 1d32, and that's the quirk you get for that. And there used to be a chart for quirks. I have to find it. This is for year 2 going forward. You can buy a unit that is 50 years, new units 50 years old or less, and used units up to 100 years old. So when you search for your purchase, we can go look at it. Marketplace, purchase unit, advanced search. So in the advanced search, if I want a new unit, it's got to be 2450 to 2500, and hit the OK button. So these are the units that are inside that range. So there's going to be units that are missing now that came out. Tanks are probably a better bet for that. Let's advanced search tanks. Yeah, so the tanks that are older won't show up anymore. So obviously there's quite a few missing now from there. And search. Let's get rid of this. Actually, let's do this. 2450. No age. See, these tanks all disappeared because they're older, so we won't be able to get some of these things. Not that that really matters. These are nice though. That'll be a shame to lose the standard LRM carriers and short. They're really nice. So we have to make sure if we're gonna buy one, we're gonna buy one early. So I don't know if we will be able to. So we'll probably never have a chance to get these. Because I think even if we do used, they won't show up. So yeah, so this is the used things that are eliminated from the used. Oh yeah, probably can get used ones. Yep. Okay, so rambling. And as you can see, all my vehicles are new. So I would like to buy them used and not new, because it's just not worth it to have spend, you know, all that money on brand new vehicles that can get blown up really easily. So they should be always used if possible, and take hits on the yeah. So I'm just trying to decide if I should do, for used, to do 1D 500 instead, and then yeah, I think I'm gonna have to tone that down. I think I'm gonna have to make a little bit of a change there for this part right here, for the retirement, because I don't want them to be 500 years old. So okay, let me just edit that up and I'll be back. And I'm instantaneously back, and you can see here that I have now changed it to the first 50 years are, you don't have to worry about scrapping it. 51 to 100 is 100, so the first 100 years are pretty safe. Then it becomes a little more risky, and then after 250 it will be 1 out of 2. So you can, when you buy a used vehicle, you have to roll a 1d20, so you could hit 200 on the first go around, and then but most likely it'll be one of these guys right here that you will, for a used vehicle, on the first year, after the first year is over. And the years, if I buy it on December 30th, I have to roll on January 1st, because it's the new year that the vehicle is purchased, that it goes that so we have to do our quirks thing. So this is all the infantry in the game that I made, plus some, because some of them are gone, and I can blow it up a little bit for you here. But so basically it goes through and it lists how much they cost, cost per year, damage per troop, cost, number of troops, max damage that the troops could do, cost per trooper, cost per troop, monthly cost, yearly cost, cost per damage, cost with modifiers. So this kind of gives you a good idea of how much damage something can do. So if we do smallest to largest, the deep cursed here infantry, there's 80 of them. They can only do 1 damage max. So odds are they're not going to do anything. They're pretty useless. Plus their cost per year is pretty expensive. The Devoted Deep are fast and stuff. There's 100 troops, but the max damage they can only do is 100, so, or 1. So they're not worth it. But they're in there because I'm going to just randomly pick who I'm going against. So they will be in there, and they could be enemies depending on what kind of weapons they have or whatever. As you can see, there's 2s and 3s. So we'll just flip this around to the largest first, and you look at the Dancers of Boreal. They cost a ton, but they can do 90 damage in 1 shot. So they can only move or shoot, since they're terrible at moving. But oh my goodness, I mean, 90 damage would just destroy lots of things. Hall Assassins, there's 100 of them. They can do 66 damage. So there's not too many that do massive damage. But you can see that it could be very... these guys cost 13 million. They can do 32 damage. They have 2 armor but 0 movement. So Flammeron here, they have 2 movement, because movement is kind of important for infantry. So we can see that we got some. Well, see, these are the ones that come with the game. So there's a max damage 10, but 5 movement and 4 movement. And the mirror troops here, they have 4 movement. Some of them have weapon range too. Oh, I guess I don't have that in there yet. There's a cost per trooper. So these troopers are really expensive. There's a damage per trooper. yeah, cost per damage point, per point of damage. So this is your best bang for the buck, even though they can only do 4 damage. But then this squad can do 15 damage, and that's a pretty good deal too. So I mean, there's a lot of craziness in here. And then this is our missions, which I haven't got to yet. So we'll go back here, and in episode 2, we will start our first mission against the rebels. We'll face 1 unit of light infantry against R4. Our Alpha Squad, which is the MegaMek transport armor piece, and then the giant sandworm infantry. So hopefully we can get that done. So maybe we should quickly look for the giant sandworm infantry. There they are. 0 movement, so they can't move very fast. Their max damage is 16. So it's either move or shoot, not both. And so yeah, okay. Oh, one of the other rules is that I cannot have 2 of the same vehicle or mech or infantry in my unit. They all have to be different for variation purposes. And this BUSqaller, thanks for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Any other rules or ideas you have, I'll be happy to listen to them. Thank you. Bye.